So our central question is, what is the multiplication principle and how is it used? So we start with some definitions. The multiplication principle is if you can do one task in A ways and the second task in B ways, then both tasks can be done in A times B ways. So we're trying to find out how many possible ways we can do something when there's two things we're doing and there's multiple ways to do each thing. Okay, so it's called the multiplication principle because we are multiplying things together. So you look at example 1. It says, how many outcomes are there from flipping a coin and rolling a 6-sided dice? So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. If you think of the coin, if you flip a coin, how many outcomes are there? 2. There are 2 outcomes when you flip a coin. And what happens if you roll a dice or roll a die? How many outcomes are there when you roll a 6-sided die? There are 6 possible outcomes, right? So for the coin, you can flip a head or a tail, 2 outcomes. For the dice, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're going to find out how many total possible ways or outcomes you could get when you do this. You do 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. So there are 12 possible outcomes. And we actually did this earlier, this chapter, when we listed like heads and a 1, heads and a 2, heads and 3, heads and 4, heads and 5, heads and 6. And the same thing with tails. Tails and 1, tails and 2, and so on. So there's 12 possible outcomes. Okay, then we have example 2. How many different combinations of meal choices can be chosen from 4 main courses and 5 side dishes and 3 desserts? So there's 4 main courses, there's 5 side dishes, and there's 3 desserts. And it says you must take one of each. Okay, it's not like I can take 2 main courses and 0 side dishes, or 1 main course and 4 side dishes. It's one of each. So we have 4 options for the main course times 5 options for the side dish times 3 options for dessert. And this will tell us how many total options we have. 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 3 is 60. So there are 60 choices. So think about when you go to a restaurant and you have options for, your main meal, what's your side dish, like fries or potatoes or however you want it, and then there's your dessert options. There's actually like probably over 100 options at a lot of places you go to if you use the multiplication principle. Okay. Now sampling with replacement and without replacement are different. So we just went over the homework from 5.2 where there is this jar that had the beads in it, and it is a green bead, a red bead, and a black bead. And it said if you pick a bead, so let's say you pick the green bead, you don't replace it, you don't put it back in. Okay, so when you take that one bead away, there's actually less beads in the jar. And when you replace it, that means you pick the bead and you put it back and then you pick again. So there's replacement and there's without replacement. In example 3, it says, how many ways can you choose a 5-digit number that does not use any digit more than once? This would be without replacement. you don't use any digit more than once. Okay, and there's a 5-digit number. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits you're going to put in there. How many options do you have to pick for the first digit? Think if you're going to write a number down, you're just going to write some number on your paper. How many options do you have for that first number you write down? You could put a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, or a 9. So there are 10 possible first numbers. Okay, I'm going to put a time symbol after that. Let's pretend, okay, I'm going to put my example down here. Let's pretend you pick 7. So I'm going to pretend this is our example in blue. You picked 7. What number can't you pick now because we can't use the same number twice? You cannot pick 7 again. So your options for the next digit are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, or 9. You cannot pick 7 again. So there's only 9 numbers left to pick from because we no longer can pick 7. So think about like you have the number 0, 1, 2. You have those possible numbers to pick from. You picked 7, so 7's no longer there. There's 9 numbers left. The next number you pick, anyone have any choice for the next number? What do you want to go with? Okay, let's go with 0. So 0 is your next number. Okay, 0 is off our list now because we can't pick it again. How many numbers are left over here on the right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. So there's 8 numbers left. So times 8. There's 8 options to pick from now. Okay, what do you want to pick next? You can't pick 7 or 0. What should we go with next? We'll go with 8. So 8 is no longer on our list. How many numbers are left to pick from? There's now 7 numbers left. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Okay, you're going to pick one of these last 7 numbers. Let's say you pick 2. Okay, 2 is now off our list. How many numbers are left? There's 1, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 9. So there are 6 numbers left. And then you'd obviously pick one of the last 6. Let's say you pick 1. So the number we picked here was 70,821. Okay, that's only one of our possible options. The options we have are 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6. And that will be 30,240. I'll put possibilities. Okay, the one option we picked was 70,821, but there's really 30,240 possibilities. Okay, because this first number could be any number, it doesn't have to be 7. The second number could be any number, it doesn't have to be 0. Okay, we just can't pick 7 again. We can't repeat numbers on here. Okay, so this is just our example. The answer to our question is 30,240. Okay, in example 4, it says, how many ways can you choose a 5-digit number if you use the same digit as many times as you want? So what this means, I'm going to give an example. In this problem, you could write down 22,222. because you can repeat the number as much as you want. You can use 2 over and over and over again. You can use 8 over and over again. In example 3, it said without replacement, so that means we can't reuse a number. In example 4, we can. So, how many possible numbers are there for our first digit? There is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 possible choices. Now for our second digit, there's still 10 choices because you can reuse a number as many times as you want. So if I pick 7 for my first number, I can pick 7 for the second number if I can replace it. This one says with replacement, so I can do the same number twice. Okay, then there's still 10 numbers to pick from for the third digit, and 10 numbers for the fourth, and 10 numbers for the fifth digit. So it'd be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. So what do we get? There are 100,000 possibilities for this one. Okay, just because we're able to reuse a number and put down the number twice gives us that many more options. So we went from 30,000 to 100,000 possibilities. Right, and that's where we end off for today.